I just hate it. Hey, go buy from me. Jesus Christ. If you're posting consistently, but you still feel like you're always running out of content ideas, the problem is not your creativity, is your content system. If we haven't met yet, hi, my name is Daria. I help service providers, founders, and coaches build their personal brand on social media so they can get more clients and sales. I've been posting consistently on my social media for over 4 years now, and I've had different posting schedules, from posting every single day to posting 3 times in a day, to now I post anywhere between 3 to 4 times a week. And quite honestly, I never had a problem of, damn, I'm wondering what it is that I need to post, because there is always something to post, there is always something to talk about, simply because I have this content system in place that I am more than happy to share with you. Before we dive into this, I do want to share that creative burnout is a real thing. And if you are posting consistently on social media, it feels like the most ungrateful, underpaying job that you will ever have, simply because the level of output is not matched to the level of input. And what I mean by that, if you often feel like we are investing so much our time and so much of our energy into social media only to hear crickets every single time that we sell. And I completely get it. When I first started taking my social media seriously, I've tested out different content strategies, but I would always get so easily burnt out, which would result me for not posting anything for 2, 3, sometimes 4 months in a row, simply because I just hated social media and Instagram specifically, and the only thought of me posting anything online would just a very big wave of rage in me, which is not the case right now. I love posting on social media. I love showing up. There's always so much fun and energy and joy showing up, but it was a result of the journey with different ups and downs. So yes, creative burnout is a real thing. And if you're continuously showing up, but you don't actually have the end goal behind it, meaning if you're not actually selling something, if you're not actually seeing the result of your work being translated into sales, you will absolutely burn out from this entire process. So the very first thing that we need to do is to move away from posting for the sake of posting and just throwing spaghetti in the wall and seeing what's gonna stick, to us actually posting with intention and realizing why it is that we actually posting, what it is that we want to post. And what I love to do whenever I am trying to decide what I'm gonna post within this week or month is seeing what kind of offers I need to sell right now. And all of my content, whenever I post anything, always starts with my offer. If this month, for example, I am launching my group coaching program, I'm not gonna talk about something that's gonna be completely irrelevant to that, because I need majority of the content that I'm gonna put out there to help me sell that group coaching. But it is required for you to be posting and showing up consistently. So for example, when I'm launching, let's just use group coaching as an example, and I know that I have 2 months to sell 10 spots for my group coaching cohort, I know that I need to talk about my case studies, about previous people who have joined the program, what kind of results that they got. And I can't just post all of my case studies all at once, because, well, it's gonna be weird. But what I can is split up it in multiple different stories and tell every single story from different angles. For example, I can talk about a photographer who had 900 followers, and we generated such a high demand for her services that even after we raised her prices twice, we still ended up with a huge wait list and her services being sold out 6 months in advance. I can talk about that story coming from multiple different perspectives, how we used Instagram stories in that example, and me breaking down that case study from that angle. I can also talk about this example and talking about how we created waitlists and how we created the demand and what kind of strategies that we used. And I can talk about how photographers don't necessarily need to have 10,000 followers to be sold out 6 months in advance. And that's just one story, but I broke it down in 3 different stories that I can share, and I can share it on my Instagram stories. I can share about it on Carousel. I can share on my talking video or voiceover, and then it allows me to create a very high amount of content, but using the same one story in that example that is tied to me selling a high ticket offer. So let's actually walk through my weekly content system. I know in each quarter what kind of launches that I have, but let's say that I have a week without any launches. I would just align on an idea of what I need to post this week, typically on a Sunday morning when I'm outlining my entire week ahead and creating a to-do list of everything that that I need to tackle for the week ahead. And I would always make sure that I have authority content integrated into my content strategy for every single week, regardless if I'm selling, if I'm not selling. And authority content is just me telling a story that positions me as an authority in my niche. An example of that, I can talk about how I solved a problem for my client and how I helped them to get from X to Y, or what kind of transformations that I went through that helped me go from point A to point B, and how I solved this problem for myself, and what it is that I do in my own business that helped me scale, make more money, bring more clients, work with my team more efficiently, and how does this whole thing work. The goal with authority content is not to just build trust to you as a human being, but to build trust as you as an expert in your niche. And that's my non-negotiable piece of content. I typically post it as a carousel post or as a talking video or a voiceover video, but I always prioritize that, because this is not something that's gonna bring you insane amount of views, but this is definitely something that's gonna bring you leads. And the second thing that I do that is a non-negotiable in my business as well is Instagram stories. I typically post Instagram stories 2 to 4 times a week. And I would always prioritize, first of all, sharing any public updates that I can with my own audience about the business that I'm building, or me getting a new client, or me working on any new service. Basically focusing on sharing the behind the scenes into the business that I'm building, because it allows for me to build trust with the audience that I already have, and for them to see what it is coming into my business, and it creates this feeling of emotional involvement into me and to my business. And it also allows me to stay top of mind, because I always talk about my business and the problems that we are solving for my clients, so they always know what kind of problems I'm solving. And to that point, I always share some kind of client story or a client update, or like somebody sends me a message and said like, Daria, my trial reel went insanely viral and brought me X amount of followers. Awesome. I will always screenshot and share it, because first of all, it's kind of acts as a proof of concept that there are other people who are involved in your business, and then you're busy, and then you're scaling and doing all of these things, which is absolutely amazing. But it also allows you to promote your services without making them a direct offer and saying like, hey, go buy from me. You're saying like, oh my God, I have this incredible one-on-one coaching client, and we were working on outlining her funnels. And after we did that, she just landed her 10 leads, and it allowed her to generate extra $5,000 into her business this month. How awesome it is. And yes, this is my one-on-one coaching client. And so it creates this feeling like, okay, if I'm having this type of problem, I should just go to Daria, because she knows how to solve this problem for me. And those are my 2 biggest non-negotiables, because my biggest thing is to share behind the scenes of what's happening in my business right now this week. So it allows me to get more eyeballs, even if it's just from my Instagram stories, to my business, and for people to learn more and more about what it is that I do. I don't have a very strict schedule about like, I should always post at 8 a.m. on Monday and then 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, because it doesn't work like that, not from the Instagram perspective, not from my own life perspective. But my biggest thing is posting consistently on my social media. And again, consistency can look very different for you than it looks for me. And then even for you, it can look very differently depending on different seasons that you're in right now. So you make sure that when you're creating content consistently, on your weekly basis, it is consistent for you. And that is the schedule that you can actually very sustainably live with over the period of 3 to 6 months very easily. If you want to post for 5 reels every single day, can you sustain the schedule for 6 months? I know I can't with everything that's happening in my life. If you can, this is amazing, post it. But if your realistic schedule right now only looks like posting 3 times, 2 times, 1 time a week, that is good enough. Let's just focus on that consistently. And if you're looking for more ideas on what you can post on your social media today so it can bring you more clients, I linked below 50 Reels ideas for growth and sales, where I broke down 25 ideas that can bring you new views and followers. And then I also shared my favorite 25 ideas to help you get clients within the communities that you already have. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure that you subscribe for more videos about personal brand and sales.